Hey everyone, it's Carol Williams with Williams Immigration, and I wanted to talk just a little bit about H-1B. I know you guys hear me talk about H-1B on Monday mornings and H-1B cap season, and you're super tired of me, but I am back. So the H-1B lottery was run probably over a couple of days. Colleagues and I have been chatting about really nothing else but H-1B season and the lottery and the technical glitches in the lottery and, all the things we've been talking about. That said, the lottery has indeed been run. CIS sent out notification yesterday, late afternoon on Monday, April 1st, saying that they had completed the initial run of the lottery. So if you have not logged into your My USCIS account, if you were the one who filed the registration, you will see whether or not your status has changed from submitted to selected. Make sure that you kind of deep dive in there and just check the button that says status, look and see what that says. Sometimes we've been seeing where the facing page will say submitted, but if you check on that status button, you'll actually see that it's a selected once you click through. So make sure that you click all the buttons that you can possibly click, okay? Click all the buttons to check for yourself. So that's one thing. If you see that it's as selected, then you are good to go with filing your H-1B application. So good luck with that. I wish you luck with that. It's just, it's always H-1B season, y'all. It's always H-1B season. If you, however, were not selected, then it's time to start thinking about your plan B if you haven't already. If you are freaking out and you don't have a plan B, but you kind of think you had that conversation previously, then have it again. But if you truly haven't had a plan B conversation and you're not quite sure what to do next, my office is more than happy to have a consultation with you and see what your plan B options might be. So some very, very typical plan B options for those folks that don't get into the H-1B lottery are you may be able to continue as an international student here in the United States. That may mean getting another degree. That's totally fine. It may mean continuing to work on your current OPT. You may have another year. You may have another 2 years on your current OPT or eligibility for another 2 years on your OPT. If that's the case, you want to have a conversation with your foreign student advisor sooner rather than later. In both of those options. And if your option is to go for another degree, if you want to stay at your same school, if you want to go to a different school, then you need to reach out to those schools, find out what their procedures are. You certainly are going to need to apply if it's a new school. So reach out to those schools, those foreign student advisors, and get some assistance from them about the school's procedures. Some folks, even though we enter them into the H-1B lottery, they qualify for more than one visa category. So it may be time, now is the time, to look at what other visa categories you may qualify for that would help you remain in the US and help you stay work authorized. Could be a situation where you are currently working for one company and maybe they have an overseas footprint. Maybe they have offices outside of the US. And if you didn't get chosen in the H-1B lottery, maybe now it's time for them to consider sending you overseas to one of the overseas offices and working there for a year, maybe a little bit more, in a specialized knowledge position, in a managerial position, in an executive position, whatever your individual circumstances are. And then later, they could potentially bring you back under the L1. And I know people are going to tell me that's not ideal. And I have this conversation with people, but it's not ideal. The ideal is that you get to stay in the United States, you get your H-1B, but these are for folks that were not selected in the lottery. So that is sometimes a very viable option for some individuals who are working for multinational companies. For some folks who weren't selected in the lottery, buying into or investing in a U.S. business is an option. We have visas that allow you to do that. If none of the above are an option, and these are not all of your possible options, these are just some of the basic ones that I always run through with my clients and with people who set up consultations with me just to talk about their Plan B strategy. Sometimes the best and or only option is to return home. And I know that nobody wants to hear that. That's always heartbreaking. That delivering that news never gets easy. And I've been doing this for quite some time. Delivering that news never gets easy. But for some folks, their only option is going to be, unfortunately, returning home because they don't want to overstay their current status here in the US. So I wanted to just talk to you guys really quickly about that. But the H-1B lottery has been run. USCIS has said, the initial running of the lottery is done now, the initial running of the lottery. So they now think that they have enough cases or enough lottery selections to meet the 85,000 new H-1B mandate that they have. If for some reason they do not, they may run a second lottery. In the past couple of years, we have seen that happen. That is by no means guaranteed. So I would caution everybody from putting all their eggs into one basket that is labeled running of the second lottery. I really caution you all not to do that. I recommend that you have that Plan B conversation now. Certainly, fingers crossed that if there is a second lottery, you are selected. But I would recommend being proactive now and looking at a Plan B and seeing what that looks like for your individual situation. And just because your friend is eligible for one Plan B action does not mean that you are eligible for that same action. So you really want to get very individualized advice on what you can do if you are not selected in this initial round of H-1B. So that is really all I want to talk to y'all about. Y'all know I'm always super H-1B heavy in my conversations during H-1B season. But if you want to reach out to the firm, you're welcome to do so. You can send a DM. We'll get you set up with a consultation, or you can call the office, and that number is below. So I will chat with you later, I'm sure, about H-1B and other things. But today was about H-1Bs. Bye.